A few days ago, over on the Confused Wanderers YouTube channel, Todd Roderick released a video titled A Case Study in Cult Fallacy: Is Laura Knight Yaddick a Psychopath? In this episode, Todd read through a very old article and gave commentary on said article. This article alleges that some of the most obvious points of psychopathy can be seen through the behavior of Laura Knight Yaddick and her Cassiopaean cult. This discussion today, live with you guys, is going to be about that particular article. Now, anytime we talk about narcissism and psychopathy, it's never a comfortable conversation, but it is necessary because humanity matters. Human lives matter. Todd and I are very well aware that Laura has the behavior pattern throughout the years, historically speaking, of absolutely trying to destroy anybody who publicly questions her. And we're okay with taking that. We're totally fine with it because our objective is to protect human life. Our objective is to make sure that no human being is enslaved by any type of organization, be it a cult or a country. So again, today we're going to be talking about Laura Knight and the serious allegations outlined in the article that we have heard over on the Confused Wonder. Allegations that, if accurate, point to something far more concerning than just controversial beliefs. They point to control. They point to massive manipulation, and they most definitely point to cult dynamics. The article lays out patterns that many former members describe: isolation, psychological pressure, moral absolutism, inner circle hierarchy, and the slow erosion of independent thinking. And here's the key question we're asking tonight. At what point does a self-appointed spiritual teacher stop being a guide and start becoming a dangerous authority figure? When former insiders describe emotional coercion, fear-based control, and a system where dissent equals betrayal, we have to take that seriously. This is not about attacking someone for having unusual ideas. Unusual ideas are not the problem here. It's about examining documented behavior patterns that mirror what cult experts have warned about for decades. Because history shows us something very clearly. Charisma plus unchecked power can become something incredibly destructive. So today, live with you, we're going to break down what the article says, why these warning signs matter, and whether the patterns described fit the profile of a high-controlled leader. This conversation may be uncomfortable, but ignoring these dynamics has harmed people before. So we're going to talk about it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Esoteric Atlanta and the Confused Wanderer. We are simulcasting today. Fair warning, I'm a little sick again, guys. I have a bit of a fever. It just keeps, I have a good day and a bad day. So if I'm not my usual energetic self, that is why I have my evil eye shirt on today, Todd. My says evil get away from me, negativity get away from me. So anyway, but this is important. This is really, really important, this discussion. If you guys are not aware of the video that we're referring to, at this point, doesn't really matter. I would tell you to go back after we're done to watch the video. And this is hold on one second, you guys. This is what we're talking about. Oh no, sorry, that's not it. That's the live we're doing right now. Told you guys I'm a little sick. Let me.
You posted links over. We posted links over here. Actually, it's funny because we were reading each other's minds because at the same time you were posting a link to it.
That was you because we had it under all. So you select it puts it.
Oh, I put both of them. Oh, that's funny. Okay, yeah, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Yeah, so there are a bunch of links within the article that I couldn't really incorporate into the article because it would have just been too long to read over all the things he was referencing to about posts on the forum and things like that. And so if you really want to get deep into the article, after you listen to the reading that I did on my channel, you can go back, follow that link, and then follow the links within the article if you want a deeper dive into that. Also, you could scroll down into the comments under Ben's article and see the craziness underneath there, because one telling thing is that there are all these cultists that get in and trying to attack Ben, as after he released that article. So
this video right here is Laura a psychopath? And so I guess, Todd, let's like start from the beginning. How did you find it? Go ahead.
So first, I had taken a pause with my research because it had taken me quite some time to get the first round of research, because I've got to go into the Internet Archives. I don't know if you all are aware of the Wayback Machine or the Internet Archive, and that's where you can look up, everything from books to recordings to websites on this particular archived. It's just an archive site. Anyway, so it has all the versions of websites, whether they've been deleted or not. They have snapshots of all the pages, and you can go all the way back to the beginning of the internet. And so I did the first round of research when I found Vincent Bridges, Cassiopaean, cult.com or whatever it was. And so we started out by reading a bunch of those articles by Vincent Bridges. And there was a couple other articles Vincent Bridges had on his website that other people wrote that Vincent posted. And so we covered those. And then I just decided, okay, I'm going to go in and see what research I can do now and see if I can find another layer. And so I went back to, I forget how I found it. I think I went back and looked at Vincent's website, and he had a link.
Well, you have people from Laura's past that are also providing you with stuff too.
Yeah, little hints, right? Yeah. Yes. And that's what, yes. And then I was contacted by someone, and they shared some information with me. That's what it was. Yeah. They shared some new information with me, and they directed me to a website. And I went to that website and realized that it had been deleted. So I went back on the Wayback Machine, went to that website, the archived website, and followed some links on that website, which led me to other websites. And then it branched off to this whole new depth of information. So I was inundated with so much stuff that it took me a long time to go through and organize everything and pull out articles and pull them to the side, and also store all the links, because you could just go down this maze. You go from one archive website to another archived website, and then you go to links in that website. And so there was a storm of people back in, I would say the heat of it was 2013, when there were so many people that were exiting the cult, and that were ex-cult members, but also people that had somehow interacted with them, like Benjamin. He interacted with them through SOT.net, which is their alternative news media website.
Sign of the Times, right?
Sign of the Times, yeah. SOTT.net. And it's actually, like Benjamin said, it's actually a good website if you want alternative news. They post a lot of world news, links to a lot of world news stuff that you would otherwise not see.
And that's how Ben. So Ben is the author of the article that you shared on your channel and gave commentary on.
He submitted an article to SOT,
and that's how he kind of got tied up with Laura. And so, and this is so important. Well, I think I meant to say from the beginning that we owe a huge congratulations to Jay Campbell, because it looks like that allegedly Jay now has a handler, you guys.
That's interesting.
Handler now.
So let's go back to how we realized that is, so Hunter disappeared.
Yeah.
which I suspected that when I saw some eye rolls during one of the interviews when he was with Laura and Jay. And then this new guy shows up.
Harrison, is that his name?
Harrison, yeah, Harrison shows up. And I was like, who is this random guy? Why, you know? And I did a little research and I didn't find anything on him. And so then I was like, oh, he's just some random friend or something. And then it's crazy because in the research I was doing recently,
there he is.
There he is. Someone had a list from way back, a list of people that were like major moderators on Laura's forum, but also not just moderators, like her attack dogs. And he had Harrison listed. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So Jay was given a handler. Yeah, Hunter left, and then Laura was like, here, I've got a buddy for you. So now they're like best friends, and he's handling Jay. It's really
congratulations, Jay. You've got, they spend so much time calling us all like what, co-intel pro or agents, but literally it's hysterical because they're projecting what they are doing.
Yeah.
Laura is behaving identical to the deep state. She has these handlers, these flying monkeys that go out and handle situations that try to destroy people like us who have questions, who push back. They are no different than the deep state.
The one thing that's really apparent is she has lost a lot of her power, because back in the day when I hit this new level going down the rabbit hole and realized that people back in like 2013, it was like so many people were calling out shit. I've got Godlike Productions, which is a forum, I don't know if it's still out, popular forum back in the early days. And I have a thread that's 360 pages of people talking about their experiences with the Cassiopaean cult. Like so many. And then at the same time, under a lot of these articles that I found by ex-cult members or people that have just had their run-ins with Laura, there were so many of her attack dogs on there. So it was like full force. So obviously she doesn't have as many people, or maybe she changed tactics a little bit, because I would think that our videos would be inundated by her attack dogs.
We've had a few of them, but
it's nothing, absolutely nothing
compared to
like the word salad attacks that people would get underneath their post if they mentioned anything contrary to Laura's beliefs, or if they are not convinced of Laura's information, like full force. And they had multiple back then. They had multiple smear websites dedicated to just attacking people.
Yeah. Well, it's what Scientology does.
It's just like Scientology.
Just like Scientology, Laura is just like, she just doesn't have the billions of dollars that Scientology has, which is a good thing because she's a very dangerous, in my opinion, she's a very dangerous person. In my opinion, I don't think Laura has ever done anything to benefit humanity, to help. No. Everything is very service to self for her. No. We've speculated, Todd, this is all our speculation. We don't know this is fact. But we've talked a lot about her. I heard her voice. It immediately triggered me because the way I think it was even Firewater by Design that talked about the thick tongue, and that's a sign of schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And when you found this whole new information, this whole new pile of research, you have been absolutely just gobsmacked at how fast she works and how busy she is, and where she's everywhere putting things out. And I reminded you, my stalker, who also is schizophrenic, did the same. They get manic, right, and they start to just work nonstop.
I have never seen anyone write so many words.
And it's a word salad.
Multiple websites with so many pages and just writing and writing and writing. And
it's an obsession.
It is. I don't know how she finds time to even sleep.
It's a mental. I believe that this is another symptom of schizophrenia.
Like your stalker would send how many messages to you
1,000,
in a day?
Like 1,000. Yeah. And that is a sign of being in a manic phase, which is also a sign of schizophrenia. So we have two symptoms that she's displayed. I'm not saying she is schizophrenic. I don't know. but there's 2 symptoms to show us now that there is potentially a very, very troublesome mental disorder that's not being medicated.
Yeah.
And
no normal person
is
goes
this
through
busy? This
what's
obsessed?
that?
Is this obsessed?
Right. No. I mean,
To the
there's some sort of mental disorder there. I can't imagine putting that much time and energy into anything, much less where she puts her energy, you know?
Yeah, and from what my understanding of studying schizophrenia, narcissism seems to run hand in hand with a lot of different types of schizophrenia. And it's I think it's pretty clear that Laura, in our opinion, is definitely a malignant narcissist. Like at the least, she's a malignant narcissist.
Yeah.
And it's we know with different delusional disorders, there are some delusional disorders that can be treated by talk therapy, but schizophrenia is one that absolutely needs to be medicated, and it gets worse as people get older.
Yeah.
So that adds a whole different layer of complication to what we're dealing with Laura.
Yeah, absolutely. Firewater by design. It's crazy. Another thing that I was talking to Bryce about, you're saying that, you know, they project their own behavior onto others. You know, she ripped Vincent Bridges a new asshole just because in one of his radio interviews they had said something about his past experience, like his bio, and they misrepresented one little thing, and Vincent Bridges didn't bother correcting him because, you know, it's just a radio interview, just let it go. And Laura's whole premise of spearing him was that one little mistake. And shit, you go back, like I have podcasts that Laura did on SOT where she completely fabricates, and this is before her books came out, completely fabricates her past and it then contradicts herself in her book. And she does that over and over again. And so she could just excuse that. Oh, that's just, you know, for whatever reason. But then she'll hyper focus on it with someone else and write pages and pages and pages based off of that one little innocent mistake that someone didn't correct in the moment.
Yeah, she has so many mythos stories. We don't even know the truth about her childhood because she's created so many different stories about her childhood that I don't even think that she can keep up with her lies at this point, you know?
Well, she obviously has it. And, you know, the thing about the Wayback Machine is I found these podcasts that they had done that are completely deleted unless you know how to search. And then you find these really early podcasts where she talks about her childhood story of what led her into doing the Cassiopaean experiment, which is a total lie in and of itself that she started it, because she didn't start it. But then you could go back and listen to these, and then you could read her books. She's got multiple versions. She has actually 2 versions that she wrote on her website about her past and what led her to doing the Cassiopaean experiment, which contradicts the books that she eventually put out. And so if you just go back and do that simple research, you could see how it's all been changed and shifted and rewritten her history and borrowed a little bit from here, a little bit from there. And before she had come up with this cohesive lie, she had these random pieces floating around out there that she thought no one else would bother going in and looking at.
Well, at the end of the day, like, the biggest concern for me is these people, this Cassiopaean experiment, this group of people, the Jay Campbells of it all, the Harrisons, they all claim to be on the right side of history. They all claim to be wanting and standing for liberation of mankind. But they're doing the main thing, the one big thing that people who try to enslave humans do, and that's censorship. They claim to be for freedom of speech, but they're not, because they censor people who have a question. And that is so troublesome. I don't even, like, as a content creator myself, I've gotten to the point where, I mean, I don't really check my comments on Rumble at all. Sometimes I don't even check my comments here on YouTube, especially if it's going to be a controversial video. I've just kind of said, you know, I'm not going to even check the comments. It's fine, whatever. But the fact that they are so set on not only trying to censor people who question Laura, they go above and beyond to then try to ruin the person's life for actually just questioning, having a question.
And that's a common theme within all these early articles that were written, is these people are like, I know I'm going to get attacked. I know I'm going to get smeared. I know they're going to call me a psychopath or an organic portal or whatever. These people say, I expect that, but I feel, these people always say, but I feel like I need to say something to get this off my conscience, because this is, at the end of the day, this is dangerous, and it's worth dealing with the smears that are going to come my way. And also, all across the board, the people comment, talk about how once they're kicked off their forum, all their posts are deleted.
Yeah.
And then Laura does a Cassiopaean channeling.
And their name shows up in it.
And their name shows up. Actually, when I was prepping for this show, I was looking through some stuff. I was going to screen share, and someone even said, like, here's an example of, like, this person gets kicked off the forum, and then next week they show up in the channeling and the Cassiopaeans.
How about that? Such a coincidence, right? Like, right. And all the person did was just question Laura. And next thing you know, they're in a channeling as a bad person.
Well, and it's why they can only exist behind a forum wall where you have to register, and they're under your control. And the guy talks about the tactics of the hijacking of threads that people start, because someone will come out and start a thread on their forum and bring up valid points, and other members will come in and start a civil conversation. But before you know it, if it doesn't follow along the lines that Laura's belief system, all the moderators jump in, derail it, and then start attacking people, and will start going in, and they can change stuff. And then also, they attack people if they see that they're using a private message system within the forum. They say all conversation has to be out in public.
It is so infuriating, because this group claims to be like against the deep state, against the bad guys, but they behave just like the bad guys. Right. Their behavior is identical. They're not for freedom of speech. They're not for liberation. Laura is their messiah. And for whatever reason, she has convinced people that she is this. Do we want to talk about what led to the French authorities investigating them today, or do you want to do a separate?
Yeah, no, we could jump into that right now. We could just jump all around, because it's important. I feel like that.
So just be careful.
I'm going to bring people's attention back to this, because we let it go for a little while, because we were doing loose stuff.
I've been really sick.
Yeah, and you've been sick, and I've been focusing on a few other things, but we need to bring this back around, because I want to continue covering this, because I feel like it's really important.
Well, the reason why I want you to talk about, you discovered what triggered the investigation into her compound in France by the French authorities. Right. And this is so unbelievably scary. And this is why this alleged story, we'll say, is why we want to talk about this, because we want people to be free. We want to preserve human life. We don't like liars. We don't like manipulators. And so, Todd, just be careful with the words that you use.
Okay, yeah. And I also, we want to bring integrity back to channeling.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny, like Lou said, it's with Laura and the Cassiopaeans, it's like a weekend at Bernie's. It means that she's fake channeling. She's just pushing.
It's so funny. I've been thinking that she's like just talking to herself. Like, I've been calling the Cassiopaeans.
Well, that's funny, because she says she is for herself from the future. So she's actually admitting it. She's talking to herself.
That was funny. Well, let's back up, because that was funny when Lou said that. Because I've been calling the Cassiopaeans, between you and me at home, her imaginary friends. That's what I've been calling Laura and her imaginary friends, because she's literally pushing the planchette around, making up the answers as she goes based on her own opinions and her own thoughts. She's not channeling anything. Yeah. Frederick Ireland was, however, channeling the Cassiopaeans.
Right.
There was actual channeling going on. When she got rid of Frederick Ireland, Lou said it became a weekend at Bernie's, because she's basically like, they're carrying around an unalived body. Like, she's carrying around this mythos of the Cassiopaeans, but it's just her imagination, which is hysterical. He called it weekend at Bernie's. But so, Todd, we know that the French authorities were investigating Laura, because France does have, and two things can be true, right? Like, we know that the French government right now, not the people of France, but the French government are real shady. Like, we know that.
And yes, and with that being said, looking when I was starting to do research into the anti-cult organization or branch of the French authorities, they have done a lot of shady stuff, like attacking people that shouldn't have been attacked or attacking organizations that shouldn't have been attacked. Okay.
However, two things can be true, right?
Exactly right. Two things could be true. And Laura herself, it's funny that I found the information because I had been always looking within my research for people talking about that investigation. I had never hit it up until recently. And when I hit it, I felt like I hit the mother lode, and I need to do a show on it. I can only just paraphrase and just briefly describe what I found, because once I found it, I sort of pushed it to the side, organized it, and said, I'll come back to that later. But the gist of the story, before I get into it, it's funny because Laura just recently put out a sob story about how she used AI to show how she was wrongfully accused and bullied by the French authorities who did their investigation. And through this whole sob story, she never mentioned what started the investigation in the first place. And I had wondered, what is it that was the major red flag to them that put Laura on their radar to begin with? And as I was questioning that, I just sort of filed that in the back of my mind and said, hopefully one day that's going to come up in my research. And sure enough, 3 days later,
there it is.
I found it. And so this is what happened in a nutshell.
Well, I want to back up before you say that too. Like, when I've been saying, yes, two things can be true. Absolutely. Like, all governments are shady. And we know that France is really shady. Like, we know, I've got a lot of French people here, and it's not the people. I've said that many times before. French people are amazing. Vive la France. Like, we love the French people. It's know it's the government. But with that being said, within like different branches of like police forces, there are good people that want to help and protect and serve.
Right.
And I think with this situation with Laura, with what we have been told, allegedly what happened, the authorities absolutely needed to step in, because this is absolute insanity. Just be careful, Todd. Like, use the word self-harm. Don't just be careful with the words you use because of the algorithms. Okay. But so why did this? So what did you find? This I mean, this is why we're doing what we do. This is it. We know how dangerous she is.
So on the forum, let me start out like this. On the forum, and this is shady in and of itself. So Laura says no private. People shouldn't be private messaging each other on the forum. Everything should be out in the open in the public. Well, with that being said, all the high-level administrators and moderators of the forum have their own separate forum that they talk.
Animal Farm. It's Animal
Farm. That they talk to one another in, and they scheme, and they bring up like who's a troubled person, who you need to watch for on the outside forum, while they're on the inside. So it's a whole pyramid hierarchy thing. And so anyway, one of the insiders, the main people, I guess she was a moderator, and she was allowed in the inside group in their private little partitioned part, and she was talking about her husband, and she was having a hard time with him, and their relationship was going through a rough patch, and she was talking back and forth to the other to her other friends, other moderators, other cultists. And they were trying to convince her. Like, you need to get rid of this guy. This guy is bad news. And of course, they want to separate you from family. I think from what it sounds like is that she was just going through a rough patch, but they made it out to be much more. And so
cults try to break up marriages. They try to break up families.
Yes. And so one thing led to another. And, I'm shortening this, but one thing led to another. And Laura tried to convince her to self-harm and go to the authorities and claim that her husband did it so he could be arrested. She could get him out of the house and never let him back into her life. Well, at the same time, she was like, I don't know. I don't want to do this.
That's lying.
I don't feel comfortable with this. It doesn't need to take this, And what had happened was the other moderators, administrators were coming in and pressuring her. Come on, you need to do this. Have you done this yet?
Take a knife and on the arm, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And they go to the authorities, make a false claim, and then, yeah. So they were pressuring her. And it got to the point to where then they started to turn on her because they weren't following Laura's instructions. Well, eventually, I think what it sounds like what had happened is she went her separate way. She was like, okay, I can't do this. Like this is wrong. And her husband ended up finding, or I think she eventually admitted to him, or he found some messages on her computer or their mutual computer, and he was like, what is this? These people are pressuring you into doing this. And he went to the authorities, and that's what started the investigation. Now, see, Laura conveniently leaves that out in her story, her sob story about, oh, poor me, the French authorities, look at they're attacking me. I didn't do anything. I'm just this innocent person. It's like, no, Laura, tell them the real story. Tell them the whole story that you're leaving out. Yeah, it could have been a false investigation. Who knows? But there's something that led to that, and that's the crux of it. You don't claim to be service to others, because she's claiming to be channeling the Cassiopaeans, who are 6 density service to others that's here in the future. But no service to others channel would be sticking around for this bullshit.
No.
If we pulled this, Lou would disappear. Lou would be like, adios. You're on a different path. You don't act out like this and then claim that you're a service to others.
Bully somebody into hurting themselves in a very dangerous way, because that's a dangerous area of the body that you could nick.
And there is, and I like I said, I was in a storm of information coming at me. Supposedly, there's a sob story by Laura when she's trying to whitewash what had happened. So she waited a long time, and then when she had to address it, she came out and addressed it. But it still made it even worse, because Laura was claiming that this woman's husband was being abusive. But it's like, well, if that was the case, then why didn't you help her and go to the authorities for her? Why didn't you offer help? Why were you pushing her?
Why were you trying to
do
create
illegal things? Like there was no way around it. She was seeming like even more of a psychopath when she explained it, because she obviously was showing zero empathy for the girl who was going through a hard time. So she thinks she doesn't understand. See, the thing about a psychopath is they don't understand what it means to have feelings. And so when they come out with their other side of the story, it's like, that don't look good either way. But they can't sense that both stories are just as bad, because they both lack empathy.
Could you imagine, Todd, telling someone to do that?
No.
Like, that would never even cross my mind to tell somebody to do that.
If I felt like someone needed to get out of a bad situation like that, I would help them in trying to find a place where they could stay, or they could stay with us or whatever.
I have done that, Todd.
Yeah, you don't go directly.
A friend, I went and helped her get out of. We just went up. I went a mutual. I don't want to say the name. We helped her get out of her situation.
Yeah.
I went with her, spent hours with her, getting her out of that situation with authorities, not making anything up. Went straight to the people that could help with what she was going through. And I sat with her for hours as a support system.
Helped her find an attorney, went to the attorney with her, like helped with the whole entire process. So it was as easy as for her as possible. I totally forgot about that. We never once said, oh, you should go fake this and go to the authority and get it kicked out and think about how much you could get from this. And that's nuts.
That's nuts. I would never. And the fact that you have people so brainwashed by Laura that, as Karen said, they're willing to gang up on a woman to pressure her to self-harm.
And look, this group that was pressuring her was her only support system. That's why she was going to this group and saying, I need help. And then the group pressures her and then ousts her at a time where she needed their help the most, and they ousted her just because she was unwilling to break the law. wrap your head around that.
And beyond that, she wasn't willing to hurt herself.
Right.
To physically hurt herself.
Yeah.
Like, before we even knew that story, Todd, my gut instinct, I knew this group was dangerous. I knew that stuff like this was possible. And then we found this story, and holy shit, like that is the epitome of evil. That's why I always had a problem with King Solomon, with the story of the mothers, where he said, well, let's just cut the baby in half, and everyone praised him as being as wise, because the real mother said, no, don't do it. What psychopath would literally think to cut I mean, we have to think about this logically. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I say Animal Farm, George Orwellian. Yeah, it breaks my heart too, Karen.
And, you know, there's so many people out there, because I read references to people. You know, you read one story from someone, guaranteed there are 10 others that just ran for their lives and never looked back and were so damaged that they were not going to risk putting information out there, because back then, especially, those people will stalk you. They will hunt you down. They will take
like Scientology.
Back then, I don't think people knew how to stay completely anonymous as much as they know now. And so a lot of people will have similar usernames for their email and their forum account. And so these people would work overtime. They will go in, they'll find your Facebook, they'll find your every single account that you have, and they'll go on and they'll stalk you. This one guy that wrote an article was talking about how, you know, he was on the forum just sort of minding his own business, and he posted something on his private Facebook page, and before you know it, 2 days later, it shows up on the forum with everyone talking about how dare this guy question this one thing, and it was just totally innocent. And then they go in and they find all of his friends, and they get all of his photos, and they do this they try to do a psychological breakdown of the person. And of course, in the end, they say he's a psychopath, he's an agent because this and this. Like, it was ruthless back then. Absolutely ruthless. People that don't need to hide things don't do that.
People who have nothing to hide nothing.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you and I are open books. We hide nothing. Yeah. We don't. I just and you're welcome, Karen. This is, listen, all these stuff that Todd and I have been through up to this date, we're really tough now, and so I think it's put us in a very good position. Laura doesn't scare us. Her smear campaigns don't scare us. We have nothing.
We've been through major smear campaigns within our own community, like yoga community. Like, nothing, absolutely nothing in regards to this scares us. Like, I sleep like a baby. Like, I don't worry about Laura digging up anything. She can come up with whatever story she wants. We'll read it on here. We don't give a shit. Yeah,
like, we'll laugh about it because there's nothing. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. That's really kind of you. We try to be. But we, you know, there's nothing to find on us. We don't have any dirt. So if she makes, which she does make up stories about people, we'll read it on our show. We know she's not channeling anything. We know she uses her imaginary friends, the Cassiopaeans, as weapons. Yeah. To try to hurt people. And so we'll read it. We've been actually kind of disappointed that they haven't pulled our names into a reading.
I think that at this point they just want to ignore us because, you know, we're putting out receipts now that existed from way back then. And if people were saying those things back then, like, and it's gone on this long, like, the most potent stuff, it has been lost on the internet. And that's why it's important that I'm doing the digging that I do.
And as Lou has said, this is according to Lou, my platform, Esoteric Atlanta, you guys watching from my channel, you're part of it too. I'm one of the biggest platforms that has actually ever challenged her. And so I think she's a little scared because I think she sees my community members here and we don't put up with bullshit. And it's not, as I said in the opening, it's not the ideas that are expressed in the Cassiopaeans so much as it is the tactics that are used by Laura. We're not attacking weird ideas. We're a bunch of weirdos. We have weird theories too. That's not what we're attacking.
Right.
What we're pushing back against is the outright abuse that this woman has done her whole entire life. And it's very karmic because Todd is her cousin. Let's not forget about that. Todd is her cousin. And
Right.
so this is very karmic. He is a knight as well through his mother's line. So they are both descendant of Jesse Knight. And so it's necessary that we push forward. And so I thank you guys for being here and being cool and allowing us to. And also another thing is because because of my platform here, you guys know I've been in the documentary hasn't been released. I've actually done a couple of documentaries now, one that was released, my first, and now this one that's going to be re-released at the end of. So I have contacts with big production companies. And so Laura's screwed. Laura's screwed because what we have now about the whole story that's coming into fruition, the time, what did Heather Gay say in The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? Timelines, receipts.
Uh-huh. And that's another thing. That's another thing. That's another reason why I've been digging so much is because, you know, I'm also working on a rough draft of a script.
Yeah, that we're going to do ourselves on YouTube.
Right. For a documentary, bringing all the information together. And I'm just trying to make sure that I get every single bit of information I possibly can. And it's just, I mean, I have to stop, I have to pause, and it's scary to sort of pause because you go, this takes you down this line. You follow one link, and then you realize there's another link in there that'll take you to another thing, and it just like opens up and opens up and opens up to so many different avenues, and it's easy to get lost. And so sometimes I have to go a certain distance and then stop and then collect myself before I go in more. I mean, I won't be able to go over half the stuff that I found. You know?
Well, and I want to say with Dragonfly here, it's you guys as well. It's not just me. It's you too, Dragonfly and Karen and Roger and Firewater and Midwest. It's all you guys. I'm trying to make sure I'm not leaving anybody out. It's every single person that's on my community because you guys don't put up with bullshit. It's all 55,000 of us that she's going up against. And so kudos to you guys as well, because we're not going to put up with people being this nasty towards human beings. Something funny to show you guys what we've been through. So this kind of changes the subject a little bit, but last night I was sharing like a lot of stuff like in support of the Iranians in the Ayatollah. You know, I don't know in what timeline we live in where a brutal dictator being taken out is a bad thing. Like I'm very happy for the Iran. I've been very emotional watching the Iranians, the Persians celebrate their liberation and their freedom. And it doesn't matter who the president is. If a group of people that have been enslaved are freed, then that's a win for humanity. And because I'm supporting the Iranian people, somebody turned me into Instagram as being, they felt like that I was about to unalive myself because I was supporting the Iranian people and not the Ayatollah, not the dictator. And we know it was a yoga person. So this is the shit that Todd and I have dealt with for a long time. And I just bring, I mean, like, what
I
do
mean,
you
that's just a little bit of it. Like,
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this is a bad time for dictators. Laura Knight Yaddick included in that. This is not a good time to be a dictator. Like it's not a good time to be on Epstein's emails. It's not a good, you know, and I don't believe that the Iranian situation is a distraction. I think it's all part of the same problem. And every human life matters, whether you're in the emails or you're in Iran, your life matters and you deserve freedom, or Venezuela or Cuba. It doesn't matter. If you are being oppressed, if one human being on this planet is enslaved, we're all enslaved. And so I just, this has been, so Todd, can we back up a little bit? And so you found this article, and this was one of the most well-written articles. Yeah. By this guy named Ben. What was 2013? Was that when he wrote the article?
Yes, 2013. Let me see. Let me share screen really quick.
So I might have to walk you through this. So go to the plus sign, or you can email it to me, and because it's a little different than Zoom. Sorry, guys. You're gonna learn a little bit about StreamYard as I instruct him on, or I can go in there and help you.
No, I'm gonna do it.
Because you have to hit share screen at the bottom. Click the link. It's going to take you to the link. Go back to the StreamYard Yeah, now go back to StreamYard, come back, and it's in the bottom here now. So then you add to stage. Yes.
Boom, look at that.
Now, for you to read it, Todd, this is where it's complicated. For you to read it, you have to leave the StreamYard tab and go to the website to read it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, well, I'm not reading the whole thing. I mean, it already took me a day and a half to do it. But he posted this on January 11th, 2013. And so if you go down, you notice that there's all of these links within the article that can take you. It's sort of like, it's the receipts, really, is what he's posting. Some of them are broken, some of the links, but some of them work. And so he lays it all out. Like this took him a while. I mean, it had to take him a while. You'd have to have taken a lot of notes to compile this. So,
and if you guys missed that episode of Todd's, I did put it in the comment thread, the link to the video, so you can listen to the full article. But Todd, give us like a Cliff Notes version. So what is the story of what is the story that Ben is writing about in this, and
well,
Ben,
he specialized in doing research on psychopaths, and on the Sign of the Times website, their alternative news website, he got one of his articles published by them, and right after the article got published, soon afterwards, someone contacted him on his Facebook page, someone from the forum, and said, "Hey, we invite you to come over and join our group. You want to, check out Laura's stuff," and so on and so forth. So out of curiosity, he got on the forum, and immediately they tell him, before you engage here, that you have to read all of Laura's books. And also, not only do you have to read all of Laura's books, after you're done with that, you have to read the whole forum, all the posts of the forum, so you can get up to speed. And right there, he was like, whoa, that's some serious red flags. But, he looked into it. He read some of the books. He read some articles. He skimmed over the forum and, got basic understanding. And, the Cassiopaean stuff, especially the early material, I think hit on some interests he had. So he was like, I understand the gist of this. I'm going to go in and question some of their belief structure. But he wasn't really challenging it directly. He was just off script a little bit. So he would agree where they were coming from to a certain extent, but not exactly. And just because he didn't exactly sync up with their beliefs, Laura's beliefs, that's when trouble started with him. And he said at the beginning, like, this looks awfully similar to a cult, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to try this little experiment with them, and they can either prove or disprove whether or not their behavior fits into the constructs of a cult. And so in the end, he was like, well, he presents his experience and also the beliefs of the people within the cult, because we just call it a cult. It's definitely, there's no doubt in my mind, Yeah. And at the end, he was like, you decide for yourself, but they had an opportunity to either prove or disprove my supposition here that they're a cult. And they absolutely proved that they were a cult. And also in the end, it's funny. He said at the beginning of writing the article, he goes, I suspect in the end, they're going to end up calling me a psychopath, and they're going to write a big article. And sure enough, in the end, they labeled him a psychopath and wrote a bunch about him. And then if you look down into the comment section, there are 128 comments. There are some of the cultists in there smearing him. And so that's where it really gets interesting. And then other people share their experiences that they had. This one guy, which was totally sad, and I actually found an article that this guy wrote. He shared his experience of going to visit Laura with his wife and his 1-year-old kid. And they stayed at their compound or their farm. And they talked about how their son was like really wanting to engage with people that were living there, wanting Laura and other people to engage with him. And he said that they were just so cold to their son. And in the end, they felt so uncomfortable that they left without saying anything. They were just like, we're out of here. And once they left, it ended up getting turned around that Laura said that all the strange shit that was going on at their house 2 weeks before they showed up and while they were there was all due to their kid, their 1-year-old. They projected it all on their 1-year-old and said that he brought some like demons in their house or something. And they knew as soon as they showed up that this kid had these attachments that were making all this crazy stuff happen. So they not only neglected that poor child and didn't welcome him into their home or this couple into their home, they ended up turning around and blaming the poor kid, innocent child.
Yeah. It's child that's abuse. And it's so funny because I don't think that Laura has actually had a spiritual experience. Like she blamed her pool having like gunk in it as being a
spiritual. Oh my God. Every time that woman gets some chub rub, she claims that it's a spiritual attack. You know, I don't think it's nuts. I can't believe she's gotten away with it. Every time she gets a little bit of friction from someone, she immediately just points a finger and says, see, this is what I'm talking about. I'm being attacked over and over. And she claims that she's being attacked because of the information that she's putting out. But the funny thing is I've been around since the early days of conspiracies online. And I know all the stuff that she talks about. She's just regurgitating material that other people put out that are in books and were online. Nothing new has been brought up. There is nothing novel that has been brought to the surface aside from organic portals. That's the only thing. And that was not Laura. That was in the days of Frederick Ireland.
Well, and let's back up a little bit because something I don't think a lot of the Cassiopaean. Can we take this down, the article down now?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, I just removed it. There we go. We both removed it and it popped back up. A lot of people don't know. They think that this lingo, service to self, service to others, organic portal, they think this is a Laura thing. No, this comes from the law of one. Even the law of one has a mention of organic portals.
If you know what to look for, if you know what designates someone as an organic portal, it's plain as day in the raw material. They're talking about an organic portal without saying organic portal. Yeah, so
this is nothing. The Cassiopaeans did not introduce this concept, this template to the world. The law of one did. And what's interesting is that Don Elkins, who was behind the law of one, he's tragically no longer with us. I think he passed away in the 90s or something.
He unalived himself.
Yeah, he unalived himself because of stress.
That's a crazy situation.
We'll talk about that one day. But his story, his backstory, Laura has incorporated as her own.
Yes, and it's funny. Yeah, we were talking about this recently. So before the law of one material was put out, there was all of this research. Funny enough, 25 years of research before Don Elkins actually started doing the controlled work with Ra and that channeling experiment that he did. Yeah. And it's funny that Laura will mention the raw material, all the books. She never mentions Secrets of the UFO. Secrets of the UFO, many people don't know about. That's like the original book that breaks down all the information and all the extensive research that Don Elkins did before he decided that, okay, I'm going to try this controlled channeling experiment. So everything that led him, and funny enough, his early research was hypnosis. Things that people would say during hypnosis of experiences they had on other planets or being abducted or communicating with higher beings. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, Laura has taken and rewritten her history as though she was Don Elkins. So if you go in and you read Secrets of the UFO, put out by LL Research, which is the publisher, self-publisher of the original raw material. You could go in and you could buy that book. I think you could download that book, Secrets of the UFO, for free. You could get a PDF and read through it, or print it out and read through it, and listen to Don Elkins' research that he did that led him up to doing the raw channeling, and then go and look at the research that Laura claims she did. And there are too many similarities to make that a coincidence. Because also, if you pay attention to Laura's early stories, she was brought up in a fundamentalist Methodist Christian upbringing,
which
that did not allow for the questions that she was saying that she supposedly had at an early age, and the research that she was claiming that she did when she was 13 years old. I'm sorry, but the podcast that I had, that she claims to have read all of these paranormal research papers that someone happened to have filed away in their house, and that she claimed to have read like 10,000 or more research papers at the age of 13. Sorry, that does not link up to your fundamentalist background and the questions that she was having and the struggles she was having in her claims to have in her mind. You can't. These two things could not exist. I can't go into it too much.
That clocks because she's your cousin, and I know that your family's big Methodist. I know that for her, because she's your second cousin, that she would have been more. And this is, you guys, she's like what, 80? So when she was younger, this was definitely, I mean, in my generation as children, we didn't have the internet. This was definitely a time where information was not at our tip of our fingertips. For a 13-year-old to be able to get books or information on the paranormal would require that kid to go to the library. And at 13, you have to have a parent with you, right? So if she's got fundamentalists, it's not.
But also that library would not have the books that she was claiming, because that area that she was living in was basically fundamentalist Christian.
Yeah, it's not.
And what she's claiming to have found these research papers that no one in that area would have. I'm sorry. No one's going to have all those research papers. Plus, at 13 years old, you are not going to be able to sit down and read all of that.
I read research papers in my research for my deep dives. Like, I read theses a lot. They're hard to read because they use very big words, and they use like they conjecture, and at 13 your mind is just not developed enough to understand that. At 43 it's I have to go slow and really digest what I'm reading. And I'm going to tell you, Todd, as someone, I am like a walking magnet for the paranormal, aren't I? Yeah. Like, you think it's funny when things just happen to me. Todd thinks it's like I'm like a toy. Like, he just sees me get scratched and things happen. He thinks it's hysterical. And that's happened to me my whole life. But when I was 13 years old, even though stuff was happening to me and I was kind of like, oh God, scared of stuff or whatever, at 13, I wasn't. I was more interested in hanging out with my friends and talking about cute boys and going to sleep. I was at a sleepover almost every single weekend. Now, granted, Laura probably didn't have friends. That might be a huge difference. I had friends. So,
well, yeah. And another thing is about paranormal experiences is, if you get on their forum and you talk about any paranormal experiences you've had, Laura and all her minions, they gatekeep spirit. Yeah, they gatekeep paranormal experiences. Though they'll be like, oh, that's not a paranormal experience. No, you just imagine something. Laura is the only one that can have legitimate paranormal experiences. Oh, and get on and try to claim that you've channeled. Holy shit. That, talking about gatekeeping, you do not get on there and talk about channeling. You will get bum rushed. Everyone will get on there and talk about how dangerous. Actually, I was hesitant on sitting down with the board and talking because I was a little afraid.
I was like, I have been attacked by the paranormal. You've seen me. I'm like, bring it. Yeah. And Lou, what, when we do public channelings with Lou, what does he always say? Lou doesn't belong to Todd and me. He encourages you guys
Exactly, and we encourage it as well. If you have the siddhi, or you can talk to Lou in many different ways. Lou had suggested last time divination is a great way and a very safe way to engage with Lou. You could have conversation. You could talk to Lou and ask Lou to help you with certain things. You're not going to have a conversation in your head with Lou, because that's not the way that it works. Or you could even get on a board and channel Lou. That's also a possibility. Lou does warn that there are some dangers there if you don't follow the protocol.
Which is why we talk about it every time, but we're not gatekeeping. We're not controlling people. That would never happen from Todd or me. And you're right, Dragonfly, you're right. At 13, you're not worldly enough to process and comprehend. No. You're not at 13.
No, and also at 13, she talks about her fundamentalist Christian struggles that she's going through, and how confined mentally and spiritually she is at that age. But then at the same time, she's going to try to convince people that she was able to compartmentalize that and push that over here and do deep research into the paranormal. Bullshit. No 13-year-old. I don't care how smart you are. I'm smart. You're smart. We weren't at 13. You're not doing that. And absolutely. It's the fundamentalist stuff. We see that, you guys, because we went through a lot of the beginning Cassiopaean stuff. It's still up on my channel because I don't take things down. With Fred, where right. That's legitimate channeling, because Fred's the one doing it, and he was the conduit. Where Laura is really struggling with the whole Christian thing. And you would think if she was doing all that research back at an early age, she would have left all that fundamentalist Christian stuff behind her. So this is more proof that she's been rewriting history. Is that it's evident within the early channeling between 1994 and 99 or 2000. That's when Frederick Earland was doing the channeling, and Laura was just present there. And it was a constant struggle.
Almost every single, if you go back and look on my channel and the Cassiopaean experiment, go back to the 90s, almost every single reading, there is friction about Jesus in the Bible. She is so fundamentalist then. So if you're doing paranormal, and she was like, 50 when she started? So at 50 years old, and you've at 13 were already researching the paranormal, you would not be so attached to Christianity at 50. Like it's not adding up. And the thing is, my conjecture is that she still is a fundamentalist Christian. She just changed the vocabulary words.
There you go.
Armageddon is now the wave.
Yeah.
The second coming of the Messiah is her.
Yeah.
It's the same story. It's revelation. The wave, it's all the same story, just different names. And what did Shakespeare say? A rose by any other name would smell just as sweet. It's the same thing with different. That hit me a long time ago. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, and also
awful like the end of times.
And also the whole LDS thing, when talk about how the parallels between how the LDS started, and there were two figures, and those two figures were in a battle against the two OGs. Well,
no, so the OG of and it's so funny because as you've been doing research, you've seen the parallels with Mormonism as well. And I've actually contacted Lorraine to come to do that part of the documentary with us, because she is an ex-Mormon. There's so many parallels between Joseph Smith and Laura Knight Yaddick. And even the Cassiopaeans, when Frederick was channeling themselves, said that Joseph Smith was talking to Lizzies. So, and the Cassiopaeans said they were Lizzies in like the second channeling ever. So Laura is no different than Joseph Smith.
Oh. Yeah, it's funny. I saw someone try to explain that away and how that wasn't a thing.
Like it's right there. Yeah, it's in the Cassiopaeans told you, like it's right there, and the Law of One tells you as well that Cassiopeia, the star constellation of Cassiopean and Orion, are service of self,
right,
for density.
Yeah.
So we've got two. Cassiopaeans themselves told you that, and the Law of One. They're Lizzies.
Yeah.
We know from the Law of One that they say that service to self entity will come in with disaster. The first thing they'll tell you is all these disastrous things that are about to happen. What was the very first thing the Cassiopaeans said when they picked them up on the board?
Right. Warning.
Yeah. One disaster. Blue didn't do that. What was Lou's first thing he said?
Go open.
Go open.
To me, Todd, go open.
Go open. So, you know, and as you guys see from Lou is very Lou talks people off a ledge, doesn't he? He's very yeah, exactly. Well, it is. It absolutely is. And I think that Firewater, I think that's how she's able to get people, because so many people in the Western world grow up in a Christian home. So many people in the Western world are taught to fear this apocalypse, this Armageddon, the end of times. And
Right.
so when you start to challenge your own teachings, it's easier. What do they say? When you leave one cult, that's when you're the most vulnerable to fall into another one. And so it's like these people, these Cassiopaeanists, they think that they have like left that world behind, but they haven't. They ran to the Cassiopaeans because it gave them the same sense of comfort, because it's revelation, just with different titles.
Yeah.
And so it's and I think that's why she's been successful at trapping people, because it mirrors what they've learned. Even if they don't want to be in the environment they grew up in, it's still the devil I know is better than the devil I don't know, right? And so it's wild. It's absolutely wild. The diet, the fact that she's yeah. Exactly, Karen. You left one for another. Exactly. It's so common in human behavior, and it makes sense because so many people will say, oh, I'm not, I would never fall for a cult, blah, blah, blah. If you think you would never fall for a cult, then you're the first person that's going to fall for a cult. Right. Yeah. And so
I know. Yeah. No one wants to join a cult. No one says, oh, I'm going to join this cult. You just sort of happen into it, you know, and this guy, in this article, this guy lays it out really clear. It's like how you could get sucked in and not even realize it until you're in the middle of it.
Yeah, and he talks about the idea of psychopathy and like questioning whether Laura is actually a psychopath. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, and Laura, I know you're watching. We're allowed to have opinions. We're still free people. I think she is a psychopath. That's my opinion.
Well, by her own criteria.
By her own, that's what he says. By her own criteria that she sets forward, she is absolutely a psychopath.
Yeah.
And the fact that people are, I never want people to be scared of me. That's never something I want. I want people to feel comfortable with me. And the fact that people are terrified of her and what she could do. We've gotten emails from people that have left, and they've emailed us to, we've helped each other. Listen, we've helped each other. It's, yeah, yep, absolutely. The BITE model checklist, and that's behavior, information, thought, and emotional control, guys. If you're not familiar with the BITE model, Stephen Hassan. So behavior, B stands for behavior control, I is information control, T is thought control, and E is emotional control. And I actually think the emotional control is the most powerful one. If you can control somebody's emotions, you can control anything about them. And that's what she does, right? And the fact that she isolates people. Let's talk about that, because so many people have talked about how the isolation tactics, and this guy talks about it in this article, right? Like even down to the diet. So what is the diet that Laura suggests you have?
Mainly meat. And yeah,
no vegetables.
Eat a bunch of meat and smoke.
And so this guy said, like,
because okay, but really quick, they have their cultists believe that our very nature is service to self, and that we're in service to self bodies, and that's therefore to be of ultimate health, to be able to process, for your brain to work correctly, to process all the information that's kind of come in through Laura from the future as the Cassiopaeans, to be able to process that, you have to feed your service to self body correctly, so your brain and your body function at its peak. And for it to function at its peak, because it's service to self, you have to eat a bunch of meat. That's their thinking. That's their line of thinking.
What was the one thing that Lou said to us?
Lou said your body can't be service to self because you could procreate. And that right there was like, of course, because because he was talking, Lou had talked to, we had a discussion with Lou privately about about how when when you graduate into fourth density service to self, they don't go through a birthing process. You basically are given a created body that
It's like a
your soul
laboratory.
that goes into in fourth density. So they don't have procreation, service to self procreation in fourth density, because service to self can't create anything. They can only pervert what's been created. And so to have a service to self body in third density is impossible, because we can procreate. So right there ends their whole argument that, oh, we're naturally service to self. That's the foundation of their belief, of the Cassiopaeans' belief, is that we're stuck here in service to self bodies, and we come into third already polarized service to self.
And that's not true.
No.
And Lou was like, that's what I love about Lou. It's like common sense. Like after he says, you're like, oh, he what does he say? Kiss, keep it simple, stupid. I know it's a they. I have a hard time. I always say he. Todd and I were laughing. So the other night we were talking about how we envisioned Lou. And in my mind, I see Lou as like this fabulous gay man. And you laughed hysterically. How do you see Lou, Todd?
As this really stern, like, guru figure.
So
I'm sometimes afraid to get on the board, because I never know, like, what I've done that I need to work on. Because for me, it's like the tough love, like, Indian guru who's just like, hey, I really need you to, like, just recently, yesterday, Todd, I really need you to listen to me right now. Is what Lou said. I really need you to hear this, Todd. And then comes, like, instruction, like, if you don't want to keep doing this, you got to stop doing this. And it's always like this stuff that's like, it's challenging. And so it puts me to the fire, and I accept it. And I could not do it.
Yeah.
And Lou will be like, okay, but what about, and they'll remind me later on, like, what about we told you to do this, or we suggested, and it's so. And so for me, I'm always like wondering, okay, what new task is Lou going to put me through? With Bryce's relationship with Lou's always like, so soft.
It's softer because I've been through a lot of abuse. And Lou even said that once. He said Bryce is broken. And so, and that's one thing I appreciate about Lou, Todd, is that even with our friends, when we channel, which we are on Thursday, guys, Thursday at noon.
Live with Lou, yeah. And then following Saturday is the members only channeling with Lou. So if you all aren't already a member of either my channel or Bryce's channel, please.
We're going to simulcast on Saturday where it's more private stuff. But the Thursday lunch live is just on Todd's channel, The Confused Wanderer, and it's going to be an open public one. But you guys see, like, Lou talks to people very differently depending on what they need to hear and how they need it. And that's how our teachers in India taught people, depending on their dosha. Like, how is this person going to take this information in the best? And Lou's very encouraging. He's funny. Lou is so funny, isn't he?
And Lou's been very sweet to me. Like, Lou has seen me push to my limits, to the point I feel like my whole life was crumbling. And Lou will be like, it's really hard to see Todd. It's hard for us to watch Todd in his struggle. And will then, encourage me, and I'll feel love and support at the same time. They'll push me to do work that I need to do.
Which is what
I mean, there have been times where we've been in a live and Lou has come in and come after me, so, and I fully appreciate it.
And we understand now, we're understanding more and more and more why Lou is tougher on Todd than he is on me. Like, we're learning more about different patterns that have set in for us as children and how that creates our perception of reality, all that kind of stuff. But that's one thing that I found so interesting about Lou, fourth density service to others, and what they're working on is that fourth density service to others is a density of love. And so what they're working on, what their challenge is, and how they grow with us is that they have to learn tough love, because they
have to transform love into wisdom.
And so Lou even said to us, I don't know if it was publicly, if it was privately, that it's really, they want to just like do everything for us. They want to come in it hurts them to like not be able to interfere and to like just do it for us. And so that's their learning. Like Lou is learning how to use love us and allow us to do things as we need to do them, and that teaches them wisdom. And Lou,
And sometimes they've made mistakes privately talking to them. They'll give us information and then go, whoops.
that
That's happened more than once. And so you can see like their love, their immense love will get the best of them, and they'll just like give us this information really quick, and then immediately go like, "Oops."
We see them get excited because I think it was the Declaration of Independence one where Lou was like, "You guys have to ask us. Like, we can't just
right.
You have to ask. Like, we can't."
Right, and also sometimes they'll say, "You want to know more?" And so you have to, because they want to tell more. And so it's like they'll try to give you a hint of like, you got to ask for it. You want to know more? There was a lot of the time when they say wait, we have to go through. We'll ask them for information, and they'll say wait, and you'll ask it again, and they'll say wait. But then you'll go through something. You'll have an experience, or you'll go through lessons that they encourage you to go through. And once you make it, then all of a sudden it's like the wait is over, and it's just like a floodgate opens, and you get all of this information. But you had to learn the lesson first before they gave you that information. They would have loved to have just given the information, but it makes it too easy. And I suspect that they would be in trouble when a wanderer comes back and says, "Man, I told you, don't give me that information. You make me learn it." And so we would be, as wanderers, we would be getting back and chastise and say, "This is how you could do better next time."
Yes,
I told you before we went down here.
Well, we've also learned that within fourth density social memory complex, the main voice of this is one of the older souls. So like a new soul into fourth density is not going to be able to take control of a conversation with the third density because they're so new to fourth that they're having to learn from the elders of fourth on how to communicate.
They'll relay messages like from certain people within the social memory complex. Like we've talked to our teacher that is now deceased, and they say that he's too young and fourth to be able to communicate directly and doesn't know limits. And so they'll say, "Oh, so and so is saying this or that," and
Dragonfly. That's why I see Lou as a fabulous gay man. In my mind's eye, Lou is a fabulous soft gay man, and Todd sees him as like a butch alpha guy. Like it's amazing.
Crossing his arms and. But Lou reminds me, but I'm like, God, Lou, this is really tough. And they're like, "Well, you told us. Before you came this time, you said, if I ever talk to you in this life right now, if I ever talk to you, you shake me into place and you give me the toughest of love and don't let up." And sometimes Lou will be going hard and then go, "We're sorry, we love you." It's hilarious.
He's so fun. The thing when he came out with that what's that weekend with Bernie's crack about, we laughed. That was a private channel. We laughed so hard about Laura just carrying around this like body of like no one's there. Like it's her imaginary friends, the Cassiopaeans. And so and we've seen, I think people think about like fourth density service to others about them being just light and love, and they're not. They're sassy. We've seen Lou. Lou gets mad about Laura and
cussing and like they're not. I remember. Anyway, they're not. From what I understand, they're not far removed from us.
No,
they just have it's basically. I think that they're basically third density with the veil lifted. I mean, really, they're so close to us. When we talk about their lives, it's like they experience challenges, they experience illness, they experience, dying, and all of that. They experience anger, frustration. Like they have the whole gamut of emotions. It's not. Some people think that it's just love and light and pure joy and infinity or whatever. Like, no, I mean, actually, I think it's even harder because they say when you could see all, think about how upsetting that would be to see the suffering, to have that kind of love, to have that kind of love, and how shocking that would be to see all of that.
Yeah, and they the only compliment Lou has ever given the Lizzies one time, he said they could be kind of funny. That's the only time he's ever.
But they don't need to be.
They don't need to be, but they can be, and they see the Lizzies. They're in a different world, but they see each other. And so when Lou is seeing humans, because as Lou says, the Lizzies can't lie. They can't lie in fourth density because there's no veil, but humans can lie. And so they see people like Laura manipulating people. It makes them, it infuriates them. It infuriates fourth density service to others. And it reminds me a lot, though, Todd, of Magdalene's gospel, where she talks about the wisdom of the wrathful person. We see that wisdom in the fourth density.
Right.
Feel anger. Anger is a necessary emotion to give you information. In fourth density, just because look at, Lou says that the angels in the Bible are inspired by fourth density. Look at their anger. Like Michael, Archangel Michael is the angel that battles demons, goes to war against demons. So there's an anger there. And so for all these fake channelers that pretend like everything's just hunky-dory on the other side, that's bullshit.
Right.
There has to be friction in order for them to even evolve in their own consciousness.
And they get worn out. They talk about being worn out.
Yeah, they love their dinner parties. They love dancing.
Yeah.
As you know, he's told us to dance a lot. The dancing does wonders for the body and for the soul.
Yeah.
It's just the complete opposite of what Laura. He's talked about. Lou has said that service to others, you don't eat meat. If you want to, that's one of the service to others.
Or if you do, you have to accept that the Lizzies eat humans.
Like, how can you be mad that the Lizzies are eating us, but yet you're eating second density, right? And that's common sense, right? It's absolutely common sense. And when Lou says it, it's like, oh, and we are under the belief that Laura absolutely knows she's service to self.
Oh yeah.
She's trying to polarize service to self.
Yeah.
By enslaving people into the Cassiopaean cult. And I think that's another thing we want to do, Todd, is for any of the Cassiopaeanists who are leaving the cult, we want to give them a soft place to land.
Yeah.
Like
no judgment.
No judgment. Like, we've all fallen for stupid shit. Like, it's, we understand it. We understand what narcissists are like. Yeah, exactly. Jojo. It's
Lou says ew. When you say love and light, Lou said ew.
Ew. Yeah. Ew. Like,
because it's not all love and light. All the way through the illusion, it's not all love and light. That's a trick.
Because there has to be friction. There has to be polarity. Even though we're in the density of polarity still exists in different ways on up the chain. Because that's
what did Lou say about the shadow side exists all the way through.
All the way up it exists. Your karma doesn't leave you all the way up. And and that's necessary for the soul to refine itself. If there was nothing, if there was no resistance in the next density, if there was no resistance, then how would we get to fifth?
Right.
How would we get the soul, and so, yeah, I think there's so many, and that's one thing Todd keeps saying to bring integrity back to channeling. There's so many fake channelers out there, like so many. Some are controlled opposition, literally. Actually, I just saw a video, I put it in my save to watch later, where somebody's going to be talking about controlled opposition being paid by the 3-letter agency, which is what I've been claiming for years now. And a lot of the controlled opposition being paid by the 3-letter agency are channelers.
Yeah.
And we're not
paid.
Yeah, Linda Dyer, there's more, and a lot of these people are organic portals. They don't realize that they're not actually, they're being used, and so it's common sense. A lot of it is, and that's what I love about Luke. Keep it simple, stupid. Just keep it simple. Yeah. Keep it simple. And so I think Lou is definitely a breath of fresh air and Lou is not, okay, people have like repeated questions before. Does Lou ever get mad when questions are repeated?
No, and Lou will find a new way to answer the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just sometimes I go over to the Cassiopeia forum just to look quickly and see what's going on. And I saw someone getting chastised because they had a question for the Cassiopaeans, and they like got whipped into place. Like, we're not asking them that. We don't need to ask them that. Lou said, bring them all. Bring all the questions. Well, let us sort those questions out. That's how it should be. No gatekeeping.
No gatekeeping. Todd and I, our lives, our purpose are no different and no more valuable than anybody else's lives and anybody else's purpose. We are all.
This is a learning experience for us talking to Lou.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's amazing like how many times Lou has answered somebody else's question where we're like, oh, like the dream question.
Right.
That was so.
I'll be right back. I gotta step away for a second.
Oh, he's probably you guys. Shut the door so they can't hear you. So somebody asked about dreams being prophetic, and Lou said, no, dreams are just your mind recalibrating everything it's learned in the day. So if you have a prophetic dream, or if you dream something and it happens the next day, it's not that you dreamed it. It's just that before you went to bed that night, your subconscious had registered it, but you didn't realize it. So it was brought forward in your dream. The mind's not bringing anything else new into it when it's recalibrating with sleep. So everything coming up in your dreams are things that were recognized during that day. So if you have a prophetic dream, it was actually something you had already picked up on subconsciously during the day that your gut picked up on that you didn't recognize until you went to sleep at night. And I thought that was so fascinating because so many people think they have prophetic dreams, but there's no such thing as a prophetic dream. It's a prophetic person that you've noticed during the day. I thought that was so awesome because in him telling us that means that we can't be manipulated by that anymore. We recognize that if that happens, that if we dream something that happens, that it wasn't given to us in a dream, it was something we picked up on during the day before. And to trust ourselves more, to trust our subconscious more, So what else was cool about that Lewis said that you were shocked? Cloning.
Oh, how that, we've talked about that. How there's no real thing, no such thing as cloning, but there is bilocation. And
that's what we don't really,
yeah.
What else, Todd, has Lou said that shocked you?
Oh, off the top of my head, I don't know. There's been just so much. Oh, the thing about seated meditation, that's just disassociation, and the only real meditation happens when you struggle in physical activity.
Which I'm laughing to myself and we've talked about that before. Like my generation, I knew that because I'm the generation below Todd.
Right.
And y'all crawled so we could walk. I had known that because of David Grieg, that spirituality was about movement, not about sitting still. And that's something that your generation had to learn kind of the hard way through mistranslations and all that kind of stuff. So
there's a whole list of other stuff, and I can't recall off the top of my head what it is, So anyway, this Thursday, lunch live with Lou. I'm looking forward to that because we don't talk to Lou. We don't talk to Lou a whole lot. People would probably think that we're like constantly sitting down with Lou talking to Lou. We've talked to Lou like at this point once a week. Sometimes 2 weeks goes by because we're just busy, and it would be great just to sit down. But we also understand that Lou's energy is finite, and we don't want to waste energy just hanging out and talking to Lou. We don't want to waste Lou's energy talking to Lou. So if we're in need and we're at some crucial point in our lives, or we have a pressing question, or sometimes Bryce will just get a hit like, oh wow, we need to talk to Lou. Pull the board out, and sure enough, Lou will have some information that's important. And sometimes it'll just be quick, 5 minutes. Ask Lou a question, and Lou will just be like goodbye, and then we put the board up, and that's it.
I love this, Sarah, what you said with the prophetic dreams. Yes, interesting. I swear I've had prophetic dreams, but it's actually comforting to know that all of my senses are working and I'm actually noticing what's happening around me. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
It's very empowering, isn't it? That like, oh, I'm actually noticing this during the day and I'm not trusting myself. So that's why the brain is re-unpacking it at night.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I'm glad Lou told us that. Yeah, and Lou is funny. And that's another thing too. I think it's important to mention if you are channeling and you feel exhausted after you've channeled, that's a major red flag that you've been channeling a negative entity.
Right. But also, you shouldn't be channeling if you haven't confirmed that you're not talking to a Lizzie. Like,
Right.
really. They have plenty of tricks. They're the ultimate tricksters, Lizzies. So they'll try to rush. They can try to rush you into starting a channel and have you convinced before you know it, and tell you, oh, you don't need confirmation because you're more powerful. Don't listen to Todd and Bryce, or don't listen to Lou. They don't know what they're talking about. Oh, we could lie. They don't know what they're talking about.
No, they can't lie. And it is. So if you channel and you're exhausted afterwards, that's because the darkness takes from you to do their work. Whereas Lou has never taken energy from Todd and me, ever.
And Lou, that's another surprising thing. Lou said the difference between white magic and black magic. White magic, you have to build the energy. Like when Bryce and I have done spells before to help protect ourselves from certain people, Lou would have us do the spell work and then go get our ass kicked on a 10 or 12 mile hike where we could barely make it back from the hike, like literally barely make it back. And Lou's like, that's how you put energy. That's how a service to others puts energy into the spell. Now, on the dark side, that's why they sacrifice.
Be careful what you say. Yeah. The red stuff, the using of pure souls. That's why, because they won't generate it for themselves. Yeah. Todd is Gen X. He's a Gen Xer,
1972.
Yeah, I'm 83, so I'm young. I'm his youngster. So I'm a zennial, a half millennial, half Gen Xer. But the older they get, the more I'm clinging to millennial just to stay young. So, so anyway, is there anything else, guys? Before we've been on for about an hour and a half now. I love, and you know what? What was that Lou said one day? Lou is here to help you with your soul's progression, but we also like to talk shit about the Lizzies too.
He said we're always down. He said we're always down to talk shit about the Lizzies.
I love that Lou said that. We're so sweet, like we're here to help your soul progress, all that kind of stuff. But we're also down to talk shit about the Lizzies. I love when Lou said that. So anyway, so join us. Actually, let me show you guys. So if you're watching from my channel, please go over to the Confused Wonder. This is Todd's channel. And I just set the live up. Where are your lives, Todd? Where are your lives?
It's not on the screen.
It's right here.
You got to share screen.
Sorry. Yep. I just did.
Do I need to tell you how to do that? Oh, okay. Yeah. You got it.
So this live channeling right here for Thursday at noon, our time, Eastern time. We don't know what Lou's going to talk about. We have no idea. So yeah, Sarah, that's why I brought it up. A lot of mediums say that channeling is exhausting, and that's how you say that you're channeling. I've never experienced. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I've never. If anything, I feel energized after. I mean, most of the time we feel neutral, like the same energy we had when we sat down. But sometimes we feel energized. But I think that the energy comes from the thoughts that like inspiring thoughts that Lou will give us. But never have I felt drained of any energy.
Lou will stop, like, I've been sick. So Lou stopped once because I was sick, and he was like, I can't, Bryce is, and just for me putting out my own energy, he said goodbye because I was sick, and he didn't want to like make me sit up and do things. Sometimes I lay down in the bed. Actually, Todd gets mad at me. We'll pull the board on the bed and I'll lay down. One time I love, for as healthy as I feel like I am, I love gas station food, don't I, Todd?
Uh-huh.
I love gas station food. I love it. So I got Cheetos, and I was eating, Cheetos makes your hands. I was like eating Cheetos while we were channeling, and Lou was like, yeah, that's great. Eat your Cheetos. Like,
well, we were talking about like how people make such a big deal. Like they have to light candles and get in this meditative state and prepare for days to be able to sit down and channel. It's like, shit, we'll grab the board. Bryce will have Cheetos on her fingers, eating with one hand on the planchette, and talking to Lou. And it's just like, we could just throw the board down, get on. It doesn't matter how we feel, what mood we're in, what, the house could be a mess. Robbie could be running around or whatever. And Lou's going to show up and we can chat. It's like breathing, really.
It's just
But
talking to
it's
someone.
funny how people out there want a virtue signal and make this huge deal about how hard it is and how much it takes out of them and all the things they have to do and center themselves. And it's like, no, that's bullshit. You're just trying to look special. It's nothing special. If you've got the siddhi, then you just do it. And that's it.
Yeah. So that's one thing. Maybe that can be something you look out for when people you go to, and some of the best tarot card readers I've ever gotten readings from are very low key about it. They just like pull the cards, right? Like there's no pomp and circumstance, no bells and whistles associated with it. It's just communication. That's all it is. It's just communication. So, all right, guys. Well, please go and watch. If you are on my channel, please go to the Confused Wanderers channel and watch the episode entitled, let me go here. Let me look at your channel. Entitled, Is Laura a Psychopath? A Case Study in Cult Fallacy. Is Laura a Psychopath? It was released 3 days ago.
And if you want to get caught up on all the tea, the dirt.
Look at you using a young person's term, Todd.
I know, you taught me that. Anyway, if you want to get caught up on the whole story from the beginning of Laura Knight Yaddick and the Cassiopaean cult, I've got a whole playlist filled with articles that Bryce and I have done shows together and read the articles and talked about them. And, it would really help if you got yourself informed so you can keep up with us, because I'm getting back on this topic. I gave it a break for a little while. I'm getting back on. I'm going to be putting more information out. So it'd be great if you all could follow along and give your feedback, and it'll help other people wake up. If you watch the videos and you like the videos, you share it, comment, it's going to help bring more attention to those videos. And that's really, our intention is to help people here, not just to gossip or smear someone because for entertainment. We're really trying to save people and wake people up, bringing integrity back to channeling and taking a crooked ass cult leader bitch down.
Your cousin.
Yeah, who's actually my second cousin.
Your cousin. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I'm terrified that this is going to end as Heaven's Gate ended, because Laura claims that the wave is coming before her natural death and she's getting older. And so I fear, especially hearing the story about what instigated the French investigation, kind of confirmed my fears. And so, and we have, guys, the dirt on this woman is unbelievable. And
I can't cover half of it because there's just too much. I have to go in and find the most well-written stuff, the most potent stuff to bring out, because some of it is just someone's random little forum post, like on the Godlike Productions. And actually, if you have a little extra time, I'm going to give you a link down here in the comments. Just give you there. Go to that link and look at the Godlike Productions thread. That's almost 360 pages of people talking about their experiences with the Cassiopaean cult.
And guys, I did just block Manny Grossman, even though we don't censor. If you guys have been following along with the Son of Sam stuff, Manny Grossman is also controlled opposition. He works for the government.
Well, what'd they say?
Just calling us names, because he hates me. He hates me because I believe the truth about the Son of Sam, and so he harasses and doxes people.
I mean, if he had the truth, then truth could take scrutiny. So
yeah, exactly, the truth is belligerent, right? But and this isn't even a Son of Sam episode, so I did block him because on my channel, people know who Manny is. He's controlled opposition. He's
yeah. All right, Robbie's waking up. He's wanting his dinner.
Here soon. I forgot. I was going to say one more thing though, and I forgot what. If you guys watched on HBO The Vow or any of these crazy cult documentaries, what we have on Laura is 10 times worse. So I'm very excited to see what the production company can do with this.
Welcome.
And we're not, when we bring this to the production company, it's not about us. It's not about us. It's about the survivors. And so we're bringing this to get them on camera, not us.
We've helped more than one person wake up and exit.
Yeah, if we can save a life, we can save a life. It's worth it. So yeah, Manny Grossman's just like Laura, they're controlled opposition. So anyway, guys, we're going dark tomorrow on my channel. And we're going to be coming back up on Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday. I have my coffee chat with Catherine Edwards. We're going to be talking about the mini series, the multi-part series on Candace Owens' channel called The Bride of Charlie. We're going to be going through every crazy, you haven't watched it yet, Todd, but the shit that Candace has uncovered about Erica Kirk.
Oh no, I've heard some of it.
Yeah. And so Catherine and I are going to go through it. And then at 12 on Thursday, Todd and I are going to do a lunch live on his channel. And I know Saturday we're going to be doing with Lou. And then Saturday, we haven't set the link up yet Saturday, but members only, we're going to be doing a members only live with Lou, simulcasted with all of our members from both our channels. So anyway, guys, thank you guys so much. If you want to join Fusion Buddy Studio, use Bryce20 at checkout for 20% off your first 6 months with us. And yeah, anything else, Todd, before we sign out?
That's all good. Thanks for joining us.
All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless Iran. Burn in hell to the Ayatollah. All right. Bye, everybody.